Back in Action was released in 2025 and was directed by Seth Gordon. It tells the story of two elite spies who, after 15 years, have been requested to jump back into espionage to save the world as their secret identities have been revealed.
Am I the only one that feels Back in Action came in out of absolutely nowhere? I only found out about the movie about like a week or two ago, and that's about it. I don't ever remember seeing any advertisement before Christmas. It was only when I opened up Netflix one day and I just saw it pop up and I was like, oh wow, a movie with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx. I never thought that would happen. Let's see what it's like. It could be interesting. And after watching the movie, it's mid. It's average and very poorly made in my book. The storyline is so dull. It's so poor, bland, uninteresting, uninspired. It's a very poorly made and written storyline. It's not a very interesting movie, it's a very dull film. Most of the movie is just really cliche and the execution does not help. There's even a secret grandparent cliche and I was like, really? We're seriously going with that? And the execution didn't help. But it just doesn't help the fact that it's just a very soulless movie. There's no charm to it, there's no wit to it, and it's just so... ugh. The film's direction is just so poor. The movie just has this tired feeling, and it just feels like it doesn't want to bother telling an interesting story. Granted, there is some funny lines of dialogue, there is some funny jokes, but for the most part, the dialogue is very poorly written. There's just nothing about the story that's just interesting. It's just very bland, very dull, and very, very poorly done. Visually, the movie looks okay. The colour correction at times looked a little bit off to me. The lighting at times was a little bit poor. At times I felt like I could barely see a thing. I also wasn't that impressed by the action. I mean, okay, there were some cool cinematography shots with a motorbike scene, but other than that, the action's just very dull, very poor. I feel it's very poorly shot too. There was very few shots that I thought, oh wow, that looked cool. For the most part, I thought the cinematography was pretty crappy, to be honest. And the acting is not very good. Not even Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx can save the movie. To me, it just seemed like they didn't care about the script and they didn't really care about the characters they were playing. While at a few points they were certainly trying, but I just felt their performances were quite poor, and I didn't really buy their chemistry. Everyone else's performance were the same. They were just poor. And honestly, at times, the acting is quite wooden. The movie's characters aren't that good either. Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx's characters are very poorly written in my book. Their chemistry is just so poorly done. I didn't find them interesting at one point. I found their arcs to be really predictable with how it was going. Not once was I ever invested in their character arcs. Same with their kids. Their kids are just, well, very generic. There's nothing about them that stands out. And I feel like not a lot would have happened if the kids weren't even in the movie. The granny's not a very interesting character either. I felt her chemistry with Cameron Diaz was very poor. They literally had like one scene together and it was so short. The villain wasn't very good either. He's barely in the movie, he has very little development and very little impact on the characters. He's a very forgettable and bland villain. So the film's characters, not very good. The music of the movie is fine, there is some catchy pop songs, but I don't feel they fit with the movie. And the overall music is just not very memorable. There is definitely a lot of potential in this film, I can see it being a really funny movie, but the way it was executed was very poorly done.
Overall, Back in Action is mid. The storyline is very poorly written, it's really not that interesting, the characters are very poor, a lot of the acting and the action's not great, and the music's not all that memorable either. And I honestly can't see myself watching this one again. I'm gonna give Back in Action a 5 out of 10.
So the film is just average. It's worth maybe one watch, but it's not something I'm in a rush to go back to. It's nothing to write home about. But if you guys did enjoy it, that's absolutely great. I'm happy to hear that. So that's it for my review of Back in Action. Let me know what you guys think of the movie in the comment section below. Stay tuned for the next video. And until then, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, guys, and skadoosh.